Dr. Naomi Wolf is a best-selling author, a columnist, a professor. She's a graduate of Yale University and received a doctorate from Oxford. She's co-founder and CEO of Daily Clout. That's a successful civic tech company. Since the publication of her landmark international bestseller, The Beauty Myth, which the New York Times called one of the most important books of the 20th century, Dr. Wolf's other 7 bestsellers have been translated worldwide. The End of America and Give Me Liberty, a handbook for American revolutionaries, predicted the current crisis in an authoritarianism and presented effective tools for citizens to promote civic engagement, which is what Daily Clout does. She trains thought leaders of tomorrow, teaching public presentation to Rhodes Scholars. She was a Rhodes Scholar herself and was an advisor to the Clinton re-election campaign and to Vice President Al Gore. She's written for every major news outlet in the U.S. and many globally. She had 4 opinion columns, including in The Guardian and the Sunday Times of London. Welcome, Dr. Naomi Wolf, to the Economic War Room.
Thanks so much for having me back.
Well, you know, it's great. I saw Rhodes Scholar. I was nominated by the University of Tulsa and a state finalist, but I didn't make it to Oxford. You not only did that, but you went back for a doctorate, which is amazing. And you've got a new book out, The Pfizer Papers, with the foreword written by recently released from prison, Steve Bannon. The book isn't opinion, it's analysis. Describe the difference between opinion and analysis and the process that you undertook with your team to make this happen.
Sure. Well, this is an historic week in which to discuss this book's publication. Yesterday, I was actually at Mr. Bannon's press conference in Midtown Manhattan, where he addressed a room full of hostile legacy media, or mostly hostile legacy media, after having been incarcerated for 4 months, persuasively, arguably, as a political prisoner. And he is the godfather of this project. He wrote the introduction, as you mentioned, or the foreword, and it's his imprint. So the genesis is that I was deplatformed by the White House in June of 2021 when I warned on Twitter that women were experiencing menstrual symptoms upon receiving the mRNA COVID injections. And I was smeared and canceled, and the only people who would talk to me, Steve Bannon reached out to me, and I brought my evidence about this and other issues related to it to his audience. In 2022, there began to be a release of internal Pfizer documents due to a successful lawsuit by attorney Aaron Siri of ICANN. And the FDA had asked the court to keep these documents hidden for 75 years. And Bannon and I were both concerned, even though they were being released, that no one would know what was in them because they were so voluminous and so technical. So he prompted me on camera to issue a call to experts to read through them and create reports. And I did. And under the leadership of this extraordinary woman, Amy Kelly, the project director, 6 teams of now 3,250 doctors and scientists did volunteer. And for the last 2 years, they've read through these 450,000 documents and have issued these reports. 50 of them are now in this book that you just held up. And this documents and breaks open the greatest crime against humanity in recorded history, I'm sorry to say. And I can go into detail about that if you like, but you asked what's the difference between opinion and analysis of the facts. Yeah. So this book isn't opinion. It would be easy to dismiss if it were. It isn't my opinion, certainly. I didn't do the work. I just edited the reports. This book is 50 reports by the most credentialed doctors and scientists from many, many fields who link to Pfizer's actual internal documents. Journalistically, there's nothing better than a primary source, let alone one the company and the FDA wanted to conceal for 75 years. And these are scientific papers. One of them was published in a peer-reviewed journal that explain without opinion, literally just explain what's in the documents. And so you'll see that Pfizer hid the bodies of 8 dead people infected with COVID when they died, vaccinated dead people, so that they could falsely claim that getting vaccinated made you less likely to end up hospitalized or dead. They knew that 1,223 people died in the 3 months after the rollout. They knew that there are over 130,000 adverse events, 62% of those in women. Of those, 16% in Pfizer's words are, quote, reproductive disorders. They knew that the vaccine didn't work to stop COVID. They knew that a month after rollout, the third most common side effect in the papers is COVID. And the centerpiece of all of the horrific tens of thousands of strokes, neurological events, blood clots, lung clots, leg clots, heart damage, pericarditis, myocarditis, pardon me, eye damage, kidney damage, liver damage. Of all of this, the centerpiece of the documents is reproductive damage, which Pfizer studied and studied and studied and studied, which is weird because COVID is a respiratory disease, right? But the heart of the papers is how to ruin human reproductive capacity.